Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Media Mortuary. Today, we're going to be looking at Goldilocks and the Three Bears, a compilation tape made in 1991 by United American Video, or UAV Home Video. UAV is yet another company known for releasing tapes of media that's in the public domain. So as usual, these tapes are cheaply made and copied numerous times from random sources, often leaving them in really poor quality. At least UAV isn't as cheap as they could be, because this slipcover is pretty decent enough, and they at least have a label on the tape. It just says Three Bears, but at least it's easy to recognize. UAV turned into Sterling Entertainment Group before either eventually going bankrupt or getting bought up by Quiver Distribution. Maybe we'll stumble upon a Sterling Entertainment DVD to review or look at a Quiver original in the future. But today, there are 4 cartoons we're going to be looking at, all in guaranteed superior quality as indicated here. Well, let's pop it in and start watching.
For better picture quality, adjust tracking control on your VCR.
Oh, come on. You guaranteed better picture quality. Well, hopefully the auto tracking will suffice. But hey, also pretty nice logo here. We don't get that too often when looking at these tapes. Ooh, so much for quality. Well, the first cartoon is The Three Bears, a color cartoon released in 1935 and directed by, and I hope I'm saying this right, Iwerks. They say his name is spelled U-B, but is pronounced like tub, sub, or bub. So it's Iwerks. I don't really like saying his full name, kind of sounds like I'm stammering a bit, so Iwerks is how I'm going to be calling him. This particular cartoon is one from Iwerks' own studio and was animated in Cinecolor. I admittedly don't know too much about Cinecolor other than it's really just 2 different colors of either blue and orange or red and green. Not full color, but at least varying shades of 2 different colors, which can still look pretty good. It's just this tape in particular isn't doing it any favors. Anyway, the cartoon is just, well, the old fable of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Same old, just probably with a little bit more cartoon violence towards the end. The same 3 bears, the same, I guess in this, it's dang near everything that's 3 sizes, and not just the bed and porch. I guess also near the end, instead of making a mess, Goldilocks kind of just destroys everything, so that was a little humorous. But, I don't know, I don't really have much to say about this cartoon. I hear that some of Iwerks' cartoons not really doing much half the time. And this is probably one of them. Nothing really stands out, nothing really makes me laugh. At least Disney showcases some pretty impressive animation, but here it just feels like something's missing. I guess this clip here when the bears are first introduced, I think this little animation bit is pretty good.
Little baby bears!
Maybe if I look at a more modern release, things will look a little better. Well, this definitely looks a little better, and as far as I know, it's in public domain. And this here is provided either by Wikipedia or this source here. But as for physical media, the Color Cartoons collection released in 2016 provides us with just 10 cartoons. But Comic Color had about 25 cartoons in total, so where are they? Well, I did see something from Grapevine Video, which has the full collection of cartoons. And before both of those was Cartoons That Time Forgot, Volume 1, way back in 1999. And yeah, that really does sum up this cartoon. Kind of forgettable. And what makes matters worse is the quality of all these cartoons, even on some of these DVDs, aren't the best. But at least it's cheap. So if you want to see some of these cartoons, I'll put a link in the description. The next cartoon is called To Spring, a Happy Harmonies cartoon released in 1936 and directed by William Hanna and Paul Fennell. They are uncredited, and it says on the title that it's harmonizing film, but yes, the William Hanna that later partnered with Joseph Barbera to create Tom and Jerry directed this film. But before all that, this cartoon is from Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's studio and is William Hanna's first theatrical cartoon he directed. This cartoon is about a bunch of gnomes, I guess, preparing for spring by, mixing or mining a bunch of rocks and crystals, or maybe it's clay. They're harvesting their colors so that spring can be bright and lively in the upcoming season. First off, I'm gonna be a little honest here. I don't really like the design of these gnomes. Their voices sound jolly and eager to spring, but goodness gracious, how horrifying. Now, whatever. There's another character towards the middle, and I can't really see him. Maybe if I see a more modern release, I can... I still can't really see him. But I guess to give this film some obstacle to overcome, they have this cloud of wind that tries to blow the cold and the colors back against the gnomes. Now, this is one of the very few MGM cartoons that are in the public domain. And here I can appreciate the colors and the backgrounds. They're really nice. Very pretty scenery, if a bit high in contrast, I guess. And yeah, the cartoon just kind of ends here. My guess is that it's because it's more of a showcase of Technicolor, because I believe it's around the 30s where animation started showcasing it. Actually, Disney already had the flowers and trees in 1932, but what about MGM? Oh. Well, they did other cartoons in Technicolor before To Spring was released, okay? I guess they just didn't want to showcase the others as much. Anyways, as for a modern physical release of To Spring, your best bet is Technicolor Dreams and Black and White Nightmares from the company Thunderbeam, released in 2014. Thunderbeam is really good at restoring old relics of the past, and I'll put a link in the description of this cartoon in case you want to watch it. The next cartoon is Hysterical History, a cartoons cartoon released in 1953 and directed by Isidore Sparber. So get this, the Cartoons series were a series of cartoons by Fleischer Studios that feature a sing-along section that's similar to those karaoke animations you see. This series was a follow-up of another series called Screen Songs, which was a reboot of their old Screen Songs way back in 1930s, which then was a follow-up of their previous series, Song Cartoons. These animations pioneered the style of follow the bouncing ball type of animation that leads us, the viewer, to sing along to the music. And that's the most interesting thing about the cartoon, I guess. The history of the series, I mean. Not the history that this cartoon is talking about, but the history of never mind. Anyways, this cartoon in the newer cartoon series, the first half of the cartoon are small gags about various historical figures.
The atmosphere by attracting lightning to a metal key.
Ah, my experiment is a failure.
Was Peter Stuyvesant, a brave and fearless fighting man.
And the second half of the cartoon is the sing-along for Yankee Doodle Boy, written by George M. Cohan. Hope I'm saying that right. But this tape only features like half the song. It just skips to the second verse.
Sweetheart.
Hello, everybody. Let's all get friendly and sing that well-known favorite, Yankee Doodle Boy. Just follow the bouncing ball.
I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of my Uncle Sam's, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the ponies. I am a Yankee Doodle boy.
Oh, that was just dandy. Now, everybody sing.
I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of my Uncle Sam's, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the ponies. I am a Yankee Doodle boy. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of my Uncle Sam's, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the pony. I am a Yankee Doodle boy.
We'll see if that song gets flagged. I mean, it's got to be nearly 100 years old at this point. But all in all, this cartoon is alright, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't seek out to watch it, and unfortunately, as with most things that have been distributed by Paramount, there are no recent releases of this cartoon. But I did read somewhere that the cartoon is only partially available in Harvey Toons, the complete collection by Classic Media back in 2006. It may have the same problem as this VHS, where only some of the song is present. Heck, I swear the quality in this cartoon seems even worse than the ones that I did before, but I'll try to find a good quality link on YouTube and put it in the description. The last cartoon is Dick Whittington's Cat, a comic color cartoon released in 1936 and directed again by Iwerks. We appear to end this tape on another comic color cartoon. Well, that's nice of them. Well, this cartoon is about a baker, or maybe a baker's assistant, named Dick Whittington, who has a cat that, to be fair, really shouldn't be in the kitchen. I mean, the cat was on the table. I wouldn't drown the cat, and neither did Whittington, so instead, he kind of puts him on a boat instead. Now, this cat is terrified of mice, and the place he ends up in has a huge rat problem, and he tries to prove, but only somewhat, and listen, I don't mean to rant here, but I don't really like this cat. I mean, he's not terrible, but his voice and cowardice makes it really hard to enjoy his screen presence. And it ends up with his 9 ghost lives getting rid of the cats anyway. So in the end, where he supposedly kind of proves his worth, he actually doesn't prove anything, and he's still afraid of mice, so he still sucks. Now, this is the first time I heard of this old folk tale, so I'm not really sure how this is loosely adapted from its source material, but I feel the pacing of this seems really slow despite all the things that's happening. I mean, the whole cartoon isn't bad, but like the Goldilocks one, it just isn't very memorable. I feel like there are a few comic color cartoons that really stand out. Like the Balloon Land cartoon, that wasn't based on an old fable or some old folktale, and it seemed much more interesting and original. Anyways, like the Goldilocks cartoon, you can find this one on the Grapevine Videos Comic Color Collection on DVD, but I'll try to find a good quality version of this cartoon and put it in the description. So let's review. This Goldilocks and the Three Bears VHS tape features 4 cartoons. The Three Bears, which is featured in Comic Color Collection by the Grapevine Video, but is also in Comic Color Cartoon Collection or Cartoons That Time Forgot DVD if you can find them. To Spring, which can be found in Technicolor Dreams and Black and White Nightmares by Thunderbeans. Hysterical History, which can only be partially found in Harvey Toons, the complete collection DVD. But as far as I know, the full cartoon hasn't ever been restored or released on physical media, so you can only really find it on YouTube. And Dr. Whittington's Cat is only on the Comic Color Collection by Grapevine Video, and Cartoons That Time Forgot, the Iwerks Collection, Volume 1. Now, all these cartoons can at least be found on YouTube. I did not see To Spring anywhere other than Wikipedia and YouTube, so just those. But Paramount cartoons like Hysterical History are usually never anywhere other than YouTube. I did see comic color cartoons that are available on the Tubi streaming service, but none of them are the ones that I reviewed in this video, despite the thumbnail showing Goldilocks here. So I am assuming this is as good as you're gonna get. As for this tape in particular, not only is the quality of the tape pretty low, but the selection is kind of bad as well. And I mean, what did I expect from a tape advertising Goldilocks of all things, right? The only cartoon that I found somewhat decent was To Spring, and even if I didn't like the gnome creatures that much, I did appreciate the backgrounds. So I guess this tape is kind of obsolete, because it doesn't have the full version of Hysterical History, and everything else has a physical release. I doubt people who actually enjoy VHS tapes would find the quality of this tape acceptable. So off to Goodwill it goes. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Media Mortuary, and thanks for watching.